Hi, State Representative Padma Kupa here, representing Troy and Clawson, my final video for the second term of my legislative session. And I thought that I would share with you some of the things I've learned as a legislator. In addition to introducing bills or policies, one of the things a legislator can do is introduce resolutions. So if you go to legislature.mi.gov, you can look up the word resolutions, click on that, and you will find different kinds of resolutions. In addition to sponsoring legislation or policies or bills, we can also introduce resolutions. The two kinds of resolutions that I've been honored to introduce are policy resolutions and commemorative resolutions. Commemorative resolutions are just that. They are resolutions to commemorate or recognize the importance of either an issue, an event, or some other major event that we want to honor. For example, my first commemorative resolution was to honor World Water Day in March 2019. We are limited to 2 commemorative resolutions as legislators every year, and so my second resolution was to honor the holiday of Diwali, which is celebrated by Hindus, Jains, and Sikhs across the state of Michigan, but it's very personally applicable to me as the first Hindu in the state legislature. And I knew that I was really proud to offer comments on the House floor when I introduced that resolution. In fact, for commemorative resolutions, which are often adopted by a voice vote, we are able to speak on the House floor about that resolution. I've also introduced a number of policy resolutions. Policy resolutions usually draw attention to something where you want someone to take action. We've asked Congress to pass the Older Persons Act. We've also asked, worked alongside with Republicans to introduce this year a resolution on country backlog and to request Congress to pass the EAGLE Act that would eliminate country caps on legal immigration, something, again, that affects people in House District 41 and across the state of Michigan, and in fact, affects Indian and Chinese and Mexican Americans and many others across the country because of the country quota caps that exist. Another kind of resolution that I've had the fortune to sponsor is one that recognizes a tragedy, such as the Holocaust. This year, I co-sponsored H.R. 277, introduced by my colleague Samantha Steckloff. She's Jewish, and I understand the importance of recognizing Holocaust and genocide. My seatmate, Representative Laurie Stone, in this term, recognized the Holodomor, where the Ukrainians were starved to death by Stalin. I thought as my final resolution, I would be able to do the recognition of the Bangladeshi genocide of 1971 as a commemorative resolution. Unfortunately, I was not given an opportunity to introduce it as a commemorative resolution. Instead, I introduced it as a policy resolution. This is a resolution number 396. And instead of being able to speak to it on the House floor, I'm making my last video here in the House DemCom studio and just taking a minute to recognize the importance of what happened in South Asia, where I was born in the 70s. In 1947, British rule in India ended, and it created the 2 independent sovereign countries of India and Pakistan, the latter of which included the non-contiguous regions of West Pakistan, what is now today Pakistan, and the region of East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, also known as East Bengal. As a Hindu, as a South Asian, a lot of times our issues are forgotten, and so it was important to me that I take the opportunity that was afforded to me as a legislator to recognize this day, much as Representative Steckloff did for her people in the Jewish community, whether they live in her district or not. As the first Hindu in the legislature, as the first South Asian immigrant in the legislature, I thought it was important that the House of Representatives and that the members of this legislative body recognize the Bangladesh genocide of 1971. There is a lot of history that went on in my childhood. I remember my father getting very angry and upset and speaking very highly of Senator Ted Kennedy, because Ted Kennedy actually spoke of this issue as the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee subcommittee to investigate the problems connected with refugees and escapees, and published a report to the committee in 1971 November, which states that nothing is more clear or more easily documented than the systematic campaign of terror and its genocidal consequences launched by the Pakistani army. The resolution goes on or starts with information about what happened between the Pakistani president, General Agha Muhammad Yahya Khan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who is a leader of the Pakistan People's Party, and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And so those negotiations that failed led to the cleansing of ethnic Bengalis and Hindus in one of the forgotten genocides of the 20th century. And so many constituents have come to me requesting that I do something similar to HRES 1430, which was introduced in Congress this term, sponsored by a congressman from Ohio and co-sponsored by Ro Khanna, another Hindu in the United States elected office from California, and others. Archer Blood, who was the United States Consul General of Dhaka at the time of the genocide and the Civil War, sent a telegram to Washington titled Selective Genocide, in which he wrote, "With the support of the Pakistani military, non-Bengali Muslims are systematically attacking poor people's quarters and murdering Bengalis and Hindus." He said that he could not, he did not think it was appropriate for him to sign the statement that he was asked to sign about this genocide because of the conflict, although private Americans living in there at the time expressed disgust. I do believe that the members of the legislature in future should recognize the Bangladesh genocide of 1971 and condemn the atrocities committed by the armed forces of Pakistan against the people of now Bangladesh from March 1971 to December 1971. Recognizing that such atrocities against ethnic Bengalis and Hindus constitute crimes against humanity, war crimes, and genocide, recalling the death and suffering of the countless victims of such atrocities and express deep sympathy for their suffering, and recognize that the entire ethnic groups of religious communities are not responsible for the crimes committed by their members. If we allow such things to be forgotten, we're not doing the right thing. And for me, being a legislator has always been about doing the right thing. Thank you so much.